Hey everybody, my name's Randy Cryle. I'm kind of a middle of the pack 50-year-old ultramarathoner, and recently I made 3 different improvements or upgrades to how I'm lacing the Huaraches to run, and I did a 31.9 mile field test of the upgrades this past Saturday, June 1st at the Another Dam 50K in Englewood, Ohio. This is what it looks like. There are now 2 heel straps, paracord, and I run the trail runs typically in my what I call the holy sandals. There are dozens of holes punched into these to make them lighter. There are now 5 knots on the bottom side, the underside of the sole. This past Saturday at that 50K, the trail conditions were wet, sticky, moderately technical. There were hills, rocks, roots, etc. But all in all, a relatively fast 50K. But the great thing was the Huarache lacing performed flawlessly. There was not a scratch, not the least bit of skin irritation. With the 6mm, I cruised over the crushed gravel, etc. with absolutely no problems. With my most recent lacing method, I had gone as far as 50 miles on smooth blacktop bike trails with no real problems. However, recently I did a first night run, about 28-29 miles on very wet trails, pretty technical, and in the middle of the night I tripped, which is pretty common for trail runners, very rare for me. And what I realized was that the thickness of the 6mm sandal is enough to catch a rock or a root. And one of the issues I was having with my old lacing method was that the sandal, the Huarache, would tend to ride forward a little bit and then be vulnerable to catching things. So with that issue and the fact that I've got a really tough 50-mile trail run attempt coming up at the end of June, I was wanting to kind of work the last few kinks out of how I wear the Huaraches. Okay, so the first step to making some upgrades was purchasing some military grade paracord, 5/32 inch from, actually I got this at Walmart. It's up to 5 times stronger than the old lacing I was using. It's also thinner and a lot softer to the touch. So this can get wet and muddy and still be nice and soft and smooth on the skin to help prevent abrasions. The latest, newest laces from Zero Shoes are also stronger, softer, and thinner as well. So I'm going to be trying these out today. Now that I'm running pretty much exclusively either barefoot or in the Huaraches, my shoe budget is very, very low. I'm saving hundreds of dollars per year. However, it does take a little bit of time, a little bit of tinkering to figure out what's going to work for yourself, but it's been well worth it. I happen to believe that the natural running technique will also save even bigger in the future, as of course I hope to avoid hip replacements, knee replacements, injuries, setbacks of all kinds. One of the keys to this paracord and these thinner laces is, of course, they make a much smaller knot. That made it easier to add more knots to the underside of the outsole by adding an extra knot to the bottom, actually 3 extra knots. I'm better able to completely control the tension all the way across the foot. Okay, the first step is, of course, the bobby pin. Attach the bobby pin to the end of the lace. Pull that right on through. And make a very simple figure-8 knot. There you have your figure-8 knot. Pull the lace through. Kind of want to angle that forward. Next up, attach your bobby pin. Go to the outside of the outsole, the outside hole. Pull that on through. It's easier with a pair of pliers. Once you get that through the hole there, just pull the lace tighter. And you'll need to figure out what works for you. What works for me is to pull it tight enough that I can stretch it across the sandal almost to the edge. Right about that far. Once I get it that far, I'm going to flip it over and tie a simple slip knot. With a nice simple slip knot underneath the outsole on the outer edge. I'm going to pull that nice and tight. That knot will control how much tension or how long this lace remains, which will control how much the Huarache slips on your foot. The next step is simply to come down from the top to the bottom of the inside of the outsole. This is the first of 2 heel straps. You'll have to figure out what works for you. What works for me is to bring it in to the inside of the outer edge of the back of the outsole. And then I'll make another simple slip knot on the underside of the outsole. Okay, so here's what we have so far. Two knots back near the heel underneath, and a heel strap that looks like this. For the second heel strap that I'm going to add, you'll need a hole punch of some sort. I use one of these. You want to go almost a 1/4 inch behind the other knot hole and almost a 1/4 inch in from the edge of the outsole. You may be able to see 2 new holes punched right behind the original heel strap holes. I've cut a piece of lacing for the extra heel strap off the back. With a little help from the bobby pin and the pliers, the extra heel strap is pulled through. I'm going to simply knot those off. So it's that simple. I've got 2 heel straps now off the back, 4 simple slip knots off the back. You want to burn off the rough edges of the rope. You get to play with fire here a little bit. It's just that easy. Now you have a secure knot on each side. Okay, one of the great things about this lacing method is once you have this thing tied, you can just leave it that way and just slip them on and off. So here's how this goes on. Slip the foot in there, lift the ankle straps up, take this around, over and behind the ankle straps, back up, pull it snug enough that you can get at least 1 finger underneath there, then go around to the other side, from the outside and under, pull that up. Okay, so you've got you don't have it too tight, and the heel straps are pulled up. You then come forward and go over the foot strap like so. Tie a simple slip knot. Nice and tight, but it's still going to move, okay? It's going to flex with your foot, as so. Then come up and under. Then tie a couple knots here, and you're done. I'm going to cut that about there. We'll burn the end of that. And there you have it. They slip off just as easy. So you're off. That's what the bottom looks like. And it goes back on. Just that easy. It should be loose enough that it's just sort of floating underneath your foot there. You can sort of see the airspace underneath the front of my foot. The beauty of these sandals is they let your toes lift up as they're supposed to while you're running. And they're super lightweight. Alright, now once you've tried these out and you know you have the tension the way you like it, what you're going to want to do is get you a little bit of shoe goo and cover the knots, especially this front knot. You want to hit that pretty heavy with shoe goo and spread it around. I usually pull the knot out cover the inside with shoe goo and then pull that back, flatten it out, put more shoe goo on top of that knot. And I found that as I've become a better natural runner, I'm not wearing out those knots as fast as I used to. They'll last a long time. And additionally, you'll want to hit each of these knots with a little bit of shoe goo, and then even on top, particularly this last knot, just a little bit of shoe goo there. It's like Brill cream. A little dab will do you, and you're done. So once you have these things set up, you're going to find that you'll probably love running in them, and you're going to probably want to go too far. Be careful about that. There are two books that I recommend to people. One is Danny Dreyer's Chi Running, excellent for everyone, and Ken Bob Saxton's Barefoot Running Step by Step is phenomenal. So there you have it. I've got lots of other videos on YouTube. Check them out. Thanks for watching.